which was in part because we had to hand carry every painting there. I tried to get it shipped, but it had to be flown to Ecuador and then to the main Galapagos Island and then go by boat to Santa Cruz. And they said there are no FedEx trucks in Santa Cruz. Just we'll take whatever you can carry. So they were all sort of small. Seth was wearing one of his T-shirts, and he's wearing one now with a big bang. And that's like his calling card. It's the way he can speak to people and start a conversation. He can say, "Hi, I'm Seth, this is my art," which he loves to do. Now this too is in the show, so you and Galapagos picked the same paintings.
That is beautiful.
And this is also in your show.
That was here last year.
Yeah, we love that, love that. Oh, I'll tell you a story about the whale shark. There's a whole issue of intellectual property. So somebody took a beautiful photo and Seth did a painting of it, and I thought, oh my God. So I wrote to him, I found him, tracked him down. Is it okay? Seth did a painting of your, he said, oh yeah. And he sent us that whale shark. He said, see if he wants to paint this. And the diver in it was about this big because the whale shark's 40 feet long. So Seth wrote back and he said to Jonathan Green, he said, Jonathan Green will not dive with whale shark, no biting the body parts. And then Jonathan Green wrote back and said they're very, very gentle. You just don't get in front where they can't see you, where they could bump you by mistake. But no biting the body parts. Now, this is another sea lion, and it is the eyes of our golden retriever.
Oh, the expression on that is just adorable.
We knew what this was. These are
Those are baby green turtles, I think.
tortoises. There's tortoises and turtles, and these are tortoises.
Galapagos?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Then we had our second show at the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands,
Wow.
and they just adored Seth.
Cool.
And they did a whole wall with bio of him, and then it was a nonprofit, so they sent a lot of art down there.
And he just knew how to make mixed colors.
Oh yes, he knew how to
Just
mix
knew.
colors. He always knew.
Wow.
Always knew. So Seth likes to paint real big, and that's why I like to do these videos so you can see how big his art is.
What interested me, Deborah, was the fact that he describes his colors in fruit and food. And I thought that's probably something he can relate to. I thought, what a wonderful way to describe things.
It is, Seth is fairly nonverbal, and the only thing he really writes are his artist statements, and then he'll sit down at the computer and just type. When he gets to the colors and the fruits and foods of each color, it just goes on and on and on. So they're in this book, a lot of the descriptions. They're just amazing.
He said we got cantaloupes and cranberries and raspberries. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
Yes, and he knows the difference in color between, yeah. Seth with his turtles. Seth with the octopus. Maybe it's octopi. This was about the third painting Seth ever did. It was just amazing.
Really?
Yeah. That's his self-study. It's on the cover of his book. That's a triptych. Those are the blue-footed boobies. Now, the Museum of Natural History did a show for Darwin's 200th birthday, which was the same day and year as Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday, which is real interesting to me. So when they did this blue-footed booby picture, they also had big fins for kids to put on and a video of boobies dancing. All the kids would put the shoes on and try to dance like boobies.
Cool. Huh?
That's an octopus with sort of human eyes.
Has he visually seen an octopus?
No, he just knew what an octopus would be. There it is, look at those eyes.
They're so cool.
Yeah. This was one of the triumphs of OCD, only the obsessive could do those little eagle ray.
Or in
That's like-
architecture, that's
Yeah.
what he had
That's
to do.
Yeah, that's like when I look at the buffalo,
Like
I
the
see all the
buffalo,
little
that's that
lines of
same,
like,
every
holy
little
smokes.
brush stroke.
Wow.
There's that.
You know what's interesting is I took a visual organization class at Kent State University, and we would get photographs and break it apart like what colors you actually see. And he just did it automatically without any. We had to do colored paper, and here he did.
Oh, he just can do it.
That's amazing.
He can. And as I said, he paints big. Those are some of his birds as well. I think we have a good bird here.
That was cool, I've seen the different techniques that he does, like when, on the smoothness of the oil painting, like with the, you know, with the humpback whale here, and then when I see the parrot or something, then he used such thick, you know, thick,
Yes, he
Strokes
almost
on it,
sculpts
yeah.
with his paint.
I
Yeah,
was like, wow.
yeah, he does. That was the staff of the Cayman place. And he was in a bunch of the papers, they love him down in the Caribbean, they just do. So he was in a bunch of different articles, and he was on PBS, both in Galapagos and Cayman.
He's been on PBS here too, hasn't
Yes,
he?
he's been on TV here, but they love him down there. Now we're in Curacao. And that too was a place where they really brought big art down there. Now there's the windmill that's here on Curacao.
Deb, in the book, I noticed there was a number of pictures that looked like you guys were down in Gates Mills or Honey Valley or something, where all the stables are, or was that out in New York? Because I was wondering, is he really intrigued and
The
fascinated about
horses are all from Central Park. He likes the Central Park horses in New York, that's where those are from.
Okay.
And this is an abstract with a Christmas tree and roller coaster. And this paint is thick like a hard-boiled egg. It just sticks out of the canvas.
Oh, yeah.
It's just delicious. Those are some of his dolphins.
How did you get, that's wild how both, there are two different paintings, but both dolphins were almost exactly the same shape. You know? I mean, you can paint one, I would see an artist painting one, but then they have two on two separate paintings and they're both like, they're identical.
He's very talented.
That's why I was saying,
Yeah, couldn't
when he
be
cut
taught.
the cake, that was the straightest line I've
Right,
ever seen. That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That to me right there is a real high, project of visual organization and being
Yes.
able to stock color. Oh my gosh,
This is,
that's unbelievable.
This painting took 250 hours. At the beginning, I used to mark when he started and stopped for, and this took 250 hours because he did every scale
Yeah.
separately.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Incredible. That's the Curacao waterfront. So what's this one?
Wow. Elton John's Rocket Man #2.
This is Elton John's Rocket Man #2. And it's either Seth and Pot Roast or Seth discovers string theory.
Cool.
What's this one?
Galapagos Hawk.
This is the Galapagos Hawk.
Wow.
And that's a wooden phoenix at the bottom that he did.
Cool.
And then, this is the only show we did not go to. It was in Kiev. And it was a group show, so we were not going to fly to Kiev for 3 paintings. But we'll show, there they are. So those 2 paintings, this was just 2 paintings, went to Kiev, but they were very, very popular. This was real interesting. This painting was in New York City for 1.5 years, and Holden will show you some more pictures of it. It's
Oh, wow.
11 feet by 26 feet. It's 104 small paintings. It's Manhattan floating in the East River as Seth thinks it should
Oh,
be.
that's part of that.
And this
painting.
is a print from one section, one tiny little
That's
section.
that section right in the middle of it.
And it's how Seth thinks it should be, with lots of roller coasters. There you can see the size of it.
How long did that take you?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Probably 10-hour days or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's no end to it.
Is that Kip that was in that picture? Kip, is
What?
that him?
No,
Is that
that's Seymour Chwast, who's a very famous artist and a distant cousin.
Okay.
Wow.
In the building again?
Is 55 Fifth Avenue, and it was there 1.5 years. Now it is on loan to a children's hospital in upstate New York.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Wow. How long did it take to do that painting?
2 years.
Wow.
Did you do these, young man?
He did.
He did?
He did all these paintings.
God bless you.
Thank you.
They're beautiful.
This is 4 paintings
Okay.
and 4 roller coasters, 4 dolphins, sky.
Yellow submarine.
Yeah.
The Beatles.
And then Seth all these cutouts that go in front of it, that hang in the air in front of it.
Huh.
Those are wooden cutouts.
Yes.
Then this is also the Museum of Natural History, and this mural was painted for that.
She can be a very special person. This is
Aye.
my sculpting instructor, David Shannon.
Well, an honor to have you,
David is a wonderful, wonderful
an
person.
honor.
How do you do?
This is Debra Chwast and Seth
Pleasure.
Chwast.
Pleasure.
That's the artist.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yep.
So this is, sweetie. So this is a mural, and the Museum of Natural History after Galapagos brought Seth back to do a show on mythic creatures, and they built a wall down the center of the wall to accommodate this mural. The next picture, I think, shows Seth with one of his mentors in front of the wall, so you can see how big it is. The mural on the wall. And there he was with all his mythic creatures.
Oh, that one on the left.
Oh, there's the one.
He's got a small
And then he
print.
sculpts. So that's a chupacabra, that's a Pegasus, another Pegasus, another Pegasus, another Pegasus.
Is that you
These
on
are
that
griffins.
picture?
What's the name of this stuff?
2000. Griffin. 2005. 2000 Christmas.
2 fantasy griffins on a Valentine's Day sky.
Oh,
Okay.
I got a tattoo.
That one lives in San Francisco.
What?
And here's
I got
another,
tattoo.
what is this?
Greenwich.
Okay.
This is a griffin sculpture. And there's that famous octopus who's gone from New York to,
Yes.
back to Cleveland.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we're in New York now. We're at the United Nations at this point.
This is the book. This is
And Seth won an award, and the United Nations gave him this award. There he is getting his award. And there was a competition in 2011 for who would be on a stamp to represent autism, and Seth won. He came number 1 in the world. And there he is, and that's his stamp at the very far end. It's the number 7 panel of the Mythic Creature mural. So there it is. The Mythic Creature mural. And we were at the United Nations. We had to give them a guest list, and everybody got a security check, and they had to have everything, before they got there. And every person who spoke was your Royal Highness this, your Royal Highness that, countries where they are the royalty. That's who goes to the United Nations functions. And us. There's Seth and we are.
What an honor.
And that is Seth with Gordon Clapp. Now, I don't know if any of you watch NYPD Blues, but that's the detective who's in love with the ditzy blonde. And he came to our Dartmouth Hitchcock show. We saw Seth in Dartmouth, just loved him. And he and Seth became good friends. And he invites us when he has openings on Broadway. And he came to our UN party. So this is Seth with Gordon Clapp. And then the plain dealer did a fashion spread, and they sent models to our home. And no matter what dress they had, there was a painting that went just perfectly. Of course, the models weren't bad either. And then these are just some of Seth's famous paintings. This one's here. This is the Seth Chwast that they got at the campus. It's real special.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Seth does a lot of beautiful architectural work. He's done the cover for 6 medical textbooks.
Such a good book that you wrote, Debra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to just read you a few excerpts from our book. I do not think Seth is simply the poster man or the poster artist for the autistic. The autism was not vanquished and he did not transform. Whatever it is about him that caused people to dismiss him is still there. The art was probably always there, dormant, waiting for 20 years to be revealed. This time of waiting and incubation may be true for your child's gifts or your gifts or my gifts. Seth's victory is our victory. It is never too late. The problem becomes the gift. Seth's in-your-face, unmistakable autism is recognized by the moms of the autistic in 30 seconds. They see the autism, then they see the art, and their hope for their children change. This possibility of art bursting forth from a child labeled as autistic might bring hope to the world. It might start with the moms of the autistic and spread out to the parents of struggling students, families with a sick child, people with aging parents, those wrestling with every kind of pain. Seth went to Galapagos and made Spanish moms cry with joy. He crossed the equator and changed lives. In the words of Jimmy Durante, I am finally ready to say, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Right.
Now there's what I want to say about this. When Seth was 18, we had a 3-day formal vocational evaluation, and with the recommendation was a career in drama. And I said he would play Nintendo his whole life. He's not going to do drama. At 20, he took his first art class. At 23, he was on the Today Show. Now he's 33. He's had exhibitions, as you saw, in Galapagos, Cayman, Curacao, Kiev, the United Nations, France. Seth cannot be stopped. And he is still who he always was. He cannot safely cross the street. He cannot protect himself. He cannot function in the way we want. When I say we, I mean all of us. I had a new mentor for a brief time, and she told me, and I don't know, she said, I chew with my mouth open. Seth chews with his mouth open. She would not be able to fix this because how could she set an example if I didn't? And she was going to leave because she could take a special ed classroom of second graders, 16 of them, and change their lives. And with Seth, she wouldn't be able to do that. And I said to her, you know, if I had a list of 100 goals for Seth, chewing with his mouth closed would not get on that list. Okay?
Good for you.
Number 1 would be good self-esteem, that he thinks he's wonderful. Number 2 would be that he gets the opportunity to paint whenever he wants. And I could come through 99 more before I got to chewing with your mouth closed. But society has things, that normal things that they want all of us to do. And I thought it over and I thought, you know, Seth can't cross the street. Nobody ever won a Nobel Prize for crossing the street. What Seth can do is he can create beauty that comes out of who knows where that can blow you away. And if I spend all my time dwelling and focusing on what he can't do, all I have is somebody with low self-esteem and frustration who's not creating. And it's not the story of Seth, it's the story of every single one of us. Every single one of us needs to be encouraged and needs to be told that someplace in you is exactly who you should be, that you are perfect, and we are going to pull that perfection out of you. Instruct is to put in, educate is to pull out. We are going to pull out the best, and the only way to do that is to look for the best and reinforce it wherever we see it. And when we see anything that's not so good, it's best to just ignore it and not spend your whole life thinking about what a person should do, because all normal people do this. It's what are you supposed to do? Why were you created? Why were you put on this what are you here to do? And are you doing it? And what would facilitate that? And that's the question for every one of us about our own lives and about the lives of the people we touch. We were talking about gardening. So I have a friend, she's a brilliant gardener, but she yells at everyone who makes a mistake. This is not going to create new gardeners. It's not going to inspire people to want to garden. Nobody wants to be yelled at. And nobody wants to have you look at them with disappointment. I took care of my father the last 5 years of his life in my home. The last year we had hospice in our home. Whatever I wrote about Seth, I could have written about my father. What I said is, when you take somebody who's in a difficult place, we don't have a cure for autism. When you're in hospice, there's not going to be a happy ending. When you take a person in a situation like that, and you bring them into a state of bliss every day of their life, it does more for you than it does for them. This is our spiritual journey. It is why we were here. It will create us, it will refine us, it will purify us, it will give us a reason to feel good when we put our head on the pillow every night. And the bliss that we cause is incidental. So that's what Seth taught me, and for this I will always be grateful. And that's it.
Thank you.
You inspire